You've tried to change. You've made plans, set goals, even had those moments where you felt like this time was different. But somehow, you end up right back where you started. What if the problem isn't your effort? It's a hidden psychological trick your own mind is running on you every single day. Today we're going to expose exactly what it is and how to finally shut it down. A stick figure, sitting at desk, hands on head, crumpled paper balls everywhere. Looking defeated, I want to be upfront with you. I'm here because the science of how your mind resists change is something most people never get taught. Psychologists at Columbia University and the Max Planck Institute have found that your brain runs deeply embedded mental loops, and those loops are specifically designed to keep your behavior predictable. Predictable. That difference is everything. Today, we're going over 6 psychological tricks your mind uses to keep you exactly where you are, and the practical steps to break each one. Stick figure stands next to a large looping circular arrow on a chalkboard. Looks confused, then points at camera. Number 1. A consistency trap. Here's something nobody tells you. Your brain hates contradiction more than it hates failure. Think about that for a second. The consistency trap is your mind's obsession with matching your actions to your existing beliefs about yourself. It's not laziness. It's your brain's deep drive for internal consistency. Psychologists call it cognitive dissonance reduction. When your actions don't match your self-image, your brain creates discomfort so strong that it will literally alter your perception of reality to fix it. Stick figure looks in mirror. Reflection shows a smaller version of themselves. Figure frowns and steps back. Leon Festinger's landmark, 1957 study on cognitive dissonance showed that people experience genuine psychological pain when their beliefs and behaviors conflict. A 2019 follow-up study in Nature Human Behavior confirmed that the brain will actively filter out information that challenges the self-concept, not occasionally but as a default mode of operation. In plain terms, if you believe you're someone who doesn't finish things, your brain will quietly sabotage any evidence that contradicts that story. How to break it? I identify one self-limiting belief you repeat to yourself, like, I always give up, or I'm not a morning person. Write it down. Step 2, find 3 real examples from your past that directly contradict it. Your brain needs hard evidence, not just affirmations. Step 3, replace the old statement with a process-based one. I'm someone who is building the habit of finishing. Repeat that version daily for at least 14 days. The mistake people make is trying to change their behavior before they change their belief. Flip the order. The behavior follows naturally. Day visual. Stick figure erases words on chalkboard, rewrites a new sentence with a check mark, and that shift alone can change everything. But here's the thing. The consistency trap has a sneaky partner. Let's talk about that next. Number 2. The familiar failure loop. Stick figure walks in a small circle on a path that leads nowhere, looking exhausted. What if your brain actually prefers your worst outcomes over the possibility of something new? Sounds insane, but it's completely true. The familiar failure loop is your nervous system's preference for predictable pain over unpredictable possibility. Even when your current situation is bad, your brain calculates it as safe because it already knows what that outcome feels like. The unknown, even if better, registers as a threat. 2 doors, one labeled known pain, one labeled unknown success. Figure stands frozen between them. A study from University College London, published in Nature Neuroscience, found that people tolerate higher levels of discomfort in familiar situations compared to unfamiliar ones, even when the unfamiliar option is objectively less painful. Researcher Tali Shah confirmed this in her 2011 work on optimism bias. Our brains discounted of futures and overweight familiar negatives to reduce cognitive load. This is why you keep going back to the same bad habits, bad jobs, even bad relationships. If comfort beats logic every time, how to break it? Step 1, name your familiar failure, the specific outcome you keep returning to. Say it out loud. Step 2, Give the unfamiliar option a test window. Instead of "I'll try this forever," say "I'll try this for 10 days. Limited exposure reduces the threat signal. Step 3. Deliberately do one small unfamiliar action every single morning before 9 a.m. Something tiny. A different route, a new podcast, a new food. You're training your nervous system to stop treating novelty as a threat. The mistake. Thinking willpower alone will override this. You need repeated low-stakes exposure first. Smile slightly. Good, you're already 2 steps ahead. But there's a voice that keeps pulling you back, and it's the most convincing voice in the room. Yours, the visual. Large question mark pops up. Figure tilts head, curious. Number 3, the narrative lock. You don't just have thoughts, you have a story. And that story is quietly controlling every decision you make. The narrative lock is the mental screenplay your mind runs on repeat. A coherent story about who you are, what you deserve, and what's possible for you. It was written by your past experiences, your childhood environment, and the things people said to you before you were old enough to argue back. Stick figures surrounded by floating speech bubbles with phrases like "you're too sensitive," "you'll never," "that's not for people like us." Dan McAdams, a leading narrative psychologist at Northwestern University, found that humans organize their identity as a personal myth, a running autobiographical story that filters every new experience. A 2020 study in psychological science confirmed that people who hold negative personal narratives show measurably lower goal achievement, lower resilience, and higher rates of anxiety, not because of ability, but because of story. Your narrative doesn't just reflect your life. It creates it. Figure writes in a notebook. The words they write begin floating and forming a path forward. How to break it? Step 1. Write down the story you tell about why you're stuck. Be honest. 1 paragraph. No filters. Step 2. Identify the 3 core plot points, the specific memories or moments that built this story. Step 3. For each plot point, ask, what is another interpretation of this event? Not toxic positivity, a genuinely different reading. Step 4. Write a new 1-sentence story that begins with, "I am someone who," and points toward growth. Add it every morning. The mistake is waiting to feel it before saying it. Say it first, the feeling follows. Here's a rhetorical question, worth sitting with. What would you attempt if your story said you were capable? Figure stands tall. New caption floats beside them. I am someone who figures it out. That's the power of narrative. And now let's talk about one of the sneakiest tricks your brain runs. One that feels like progress but isn't, actually. Figure frantically moves papers around desk, looks busy but stressed. Nothing is being completed. Number 4, the effort illusion. You feel productive. You're exhausted at the end of the day. But somehow, nothing that matters actually moved forward. Sound familiar? The effort illusion is your brain's trick of substituting low-stakes activity for high-stakes action and rewarding you for it. It's busyness that mimics progress. Your brain can't always distinguish between meaningful effort and motion. And it doesn't want to, because meaningful effort is uncomfortable. Split screen left side, figure reorganizes desk endlessly. Right side, figure stares at blank page, looks frozen. Harvard Business School professor Teresa Amabie's progress principle research found that people feel the most motivated when they make real progress on meaningful work, but they often default to minor tasks because those tasks deliver small, immediate dopamine hits. A 2021 paper in Organizational Behavior and Human Decision Processes confirmed that workers spend up to 41% of their time on low-priority tasks, specifically to avoid the anxiety of high-priority ones. You're not lazy. You're avoiding discomfort with the disguise of effort. How to break it? Step 1 each morning. Identify your single most important task. The one NG that will actually move your life or work forward. Do that task first, before email, before social media. And step 2, set a 25-minute timer and work on only that task. Step 3, log your real progress at the end of the day. Not your activity, your actual output. The mistake, letting "I was busy all day" count as success. Big visual. Figure writes, most important task, on sticky note, places it on monitor, sits down with focused expression. Stay with me, because we're about to hit the 2 most emotional tricks on this list, and one of them has probably been quietly draining your confidence for years. The permission trap. A spiral. Figure stands at a starting line, looks left and right waiting for someone to give the go signal. No one is there. Quick question. Who told you that you needed permission to start? The permission trap is the unconscious habit of waiting for external validation. Approval from a boss, a partner, a credential, or the right moment before taking action on what you already know you should do. It feels like patience, but it's actually a stall tactic your brain uses to avoid the risk of failure. Dr. Brené Brown's research on vulnerability and shame at the University of Houston found that fear of imperfect action, specifically the fear of judgment, is the #1 reason people delay starting meaningful goals. At 2018, study in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology confirmed that external validation seeking is directly correlated with lower self-efficacy and higher chronic procrastination, meaning the more you wait for someone else to greenlight you, the less confident you become. Over time. How to break it. Step 1, write down the goal you're currently waiting on. Then write who or what you're waiting for. Step 2, ask yourself honestly, will waiting actually make this safer, or does it just feel safer? Step 3, give yourself a 48-hour permission deadline. If the external signal hasn't come by then, you move anyway. Start before you're ready. Always the mistake. Confusing preparation with permission. You can prepare and start at the same time. Visual. Figure stops waiting, takes one bold step forward alone. Small crowd of stick figures. Cheers in background. Almost there. Last one. And this one might be the most important of all. Number 6. The false ceiling. Shakes. The false ceiling. Bing mix shit, but it stops them cold. Have you ever gotten close to a big goal and then mysteriously self-destructed just before the finish line? That's not bad luck. That's the false ceiling. The false ceiling is your mind's unconscious limit for how much success, happiness, or growth you believe you deserve. It's not external. It's a psychological boundary your brain created to match your self-image, and whenever you get close to exceeding it, your brain pulls you back down. Figure bounces off the invisible ceiling and lands back at their starting point, looking confused. Gay Hendricks, in his book The Big Leap, identified this as the upper limit problem, a psychological phenomenon where people unconsciously sabotage their own progress when they approach the edge of what they believe they're allowed to have. Psychologist Nathaniel Branden's decades of research on self-esteem confirm that a person's level of achievement will rarely exceed their level of felt worthiness or long. Your ceiling isn't the economy, the competition, or bad timing. It's your own internal permission level. Visual. Figure pulls out a hammer, taps lightly on the glass ceiling. Small crack appears. Figure looks at crack with wide eyes. How to break it. Step 1. Identify where you are consistently self-sabotaging. Late nights before big presentations, arguments before a promotion, binge eating before a goal weigh-in. These patterns reveal your ceiling. Step 2. Name the specific fear underneath the sabotage. Fear of visibility, fear of responsibility, fear of changing your identity. Step 3. Remind yourself daily that deserving growth is not arrogance. It's a skill you practice by choosing differently, one day at a time. Step 4. Take the big action anyway, Even while the fear is still there, the ceiling only shatters when you walk through it. Bivule. Figure takes a full step through the ceiling. Glass shatters. Open sky above. Figure looks up in amazement. Okay, it's just running outdated software. And today, you found the source code. Here are the 6 psychological tricks your mind uses to keep you stuck. Number 1, the consistency trap. Your brain protects your old self-image even when it's hurting you. Rewrite the belief before you change the behavior. Number 2, the familiar failure loop. Your nervous system prefers known pain over unknown possibility. Train it with low-stakes novelty daily. Number 3, the narrative lock. Your personal story creates your results. Rewrite the story, consciously, every single day. Number 4, the effort illusion. Buzziness is not progress. Identify your most important task and do it first, every day. Number 5, the he. Number 5, the he, permission trap. Nobody is coming to greenlight your life. Give yourself the 48-hour rule and move. Number 6, the false ceiling. Your unconscious worthiness limit will pull you back down every time you get close. Name the fear, call the pattern, and walk through it anyway. Figure walks forward confidently. Each trap box falls behind them as they pass. Here's what I want you to understand. Every one of these traps exists because your brain is trying to protect you. It's not your enemy, but it's working off very old data. And you are capable of updating it. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need more time. You need one action today that signals to your brain that the old story is over. Figure picks up a pen, writes "new chapter" in giant letters on a blank wall. Pick the trap that resonated most with you. Drop it in the comments below. I read every single one. And if this video gave you one new way of seeing your own mind, hit that like button and subscribe. Because next week, we're going into the exact science of how to build a new identity from scratch, fast. You don't want to miss that one visual. Figure gives thumbs up, subscribe button pulses, 2 video thumbnails fade in. And remember, this is the same mind that's about to set you free. You just have to teach it a new trick.